Hi, welcome back to my channel, or if you're here for the first time, welcome. I'm Stacy. I'm a therapist in private practice in the Jackson, Mississippi area, and today we are going to be talking about how you can make sure your relationship survives a quarantine. So if you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you make sure to know when I have new videos up. I do an Ask a Therapist advice column style video every Friday, and then I bring videos on different topics of interest as I have time and am able to. So right now we all know that we are living in a time that is very different than anything that most of us have been through before. And hopefully you have somebody that you're spending this time with during the stay at home, shelter at home, quarantine. Some people are self-quarantining. And because of that, a lot of us are stuck at home with our family members, significant others, husband, boyfriend, wife, girlfriend, partner, spouse, whatever you want to call them. And you want to make sure, hopefully, that your relationship survives this time of extra togetherness, especially because a lot of us are working from home, myself included. So I have 10 tips on things that you can do to make sure your relationship outlasts the pandemic. So number 1, alone time. Most of us are used to having our own time and space. Even if we live with our significant other, we typically have some alone time. And one thing that I've noticed in talking to clients is that a lot of people feel kind of trapped in their house, and they also are out of their routine. So we might forget that we actually need some time by ourselves without our partner, even if it's just like being in the other room, doing a hobby, playing a video game, reading a book. We just need to make sure that we have time where we are physically not in the space of whoever it is that we are spending time with. And this is also true of family members, kids, whoever you happen to be sharing your space with at this time. Because even if you live together during normal, regular times, everything has changed, everything is different. So you really need to prioritize having some alone time. And make sure that you respect your partner's need. If they maybe need a little bit more alone time than you, I think we're also figuring out, some of us are introverts, some of us are extroverts, and extroverts are suffering in a different way during this time, but you can't expect your partner to fulfill the need that you have for all of that contact, even if they're an extrovert too. So make sure that you're giving each other physical space. Number 2, respect work time. The vast majority of us go out to a workplace. And for those of us who are lucky enough to be able to work from home and not be furloughed or laid off or have lost our jobs during this time, we actually have to do work from home. And one of the things I'm finding is that people are having difficulty coming up with a new routine, but also that sometimes spouses or partners forget that the work time is the work time. So they'll be like, oh, do you want to do this? Oh, are you going to cook lunch? Blah, blah, blah. And we don't respect that time where our partner is actually doing work for work. Make sure that if you're working or if your spouse or partner is working, that you are giving them the respect to concentrate on what they need to do for their job in that time that they have set aside for work. Number 3, make some quality time. When we are stuck together, we are spending a lot of time doing things like being on our phone, social media, reading things. So you have to make sure that the time that you're spending with your spouse or significant other is that quality time. So make sure, if you usually have a date night where you go out to a restaurant, that you're maybe sitting at a table and actually interacting with each other without your phones or without the television in the way that you would in a restaurant. Or if you usually like to go to a movie and then talk about the movie, make sure that that's what you're doing at home. Making sure that we are interacting with each other and still giving energy to the relationship in the same way that we do when we're not just staying at home. This is also a great time to do a new activity together if you're both interested in doing some exercise classes on YouTube or yoga, or playing games together, or doing things that you can do together. This is a great time to also maybe start a new tradition of something that you do together. Number 4, be inquisitive, not accusatory. So this is something that's always helpful in relationships, but especially when we're spending a lot more time together. If we're feeling irritable, if we're feeling trapped in our houses, if we're feeling stressed out, concerned about illness, concerned about jobs, we are more prone to reacting. So rather than being angry or accusing, be inquisitive, meaning instead of being like, why are you bothering me when I'm trying to work? Asking and saying, what's going on right now that you feel like you need to keep coming in here and talking to me when you know that I'm trying to work. So by asking questions and figuring out what's going on, that can make the approach seem a lot less aggressive. Because when we're accusing, why are you doing this? Or you did this, it feels very attacking. So what we want to try to do is not argue or fight more than we do normally. If you're a high conflict couple, you being stuck together all the time might mean that the fighting is just going through the roof. And what you want to make sure to do is you want to solve problems rather than just fighting. So by being inquisitive, meaning asking questions, getting to the bottom of what's going on, it allows us to solve and resolve things rather than just fighting. Number 5, get out. And what I mean by this is, if you are able and you're in an area where you can get out of the house, get out of the house. Whether that means spending time on your patio or balcony, taking the dog for a walk, taking the cat for a walk, whatever excuse you need to get outside, try to spend some time outside if you can. Now, I realize that in some areas like New York City, where they're having a lot of, still a lot of people getting sick, that you can't be out walking the streets. But I know also the flip side of that is in California, they're still encouraging people to go outside to exercise, to walk your dog. So try to get some fresh air and some sunlight and get out of your house if at all possible. That could also be your alone time maybe. Number 6 is invest in the relationship. Now is a great time if you find that you don't usually have a lot of time for your partner, or maybe you've been growing apart, to take some time and energy and put it back into the relationship. So don't be afraid to be the one that says, hey, would you like to go to dinner with me? Or I heard about this new show that everybody's binging. Would you like to watch it together? So try to make sure that some of that energy that you have, and I realize that we don't have a lot of extra energy right now, but that you're investing some of that energy into the relationship. This is different than quality time, but they do go hand in hand, where we're just saying, be intentional with what you're doing for your relationship and for your partner, to not just assume that because you're in the same physical space all the time, that is doing anything positive for the relationship. We want to be actively involved in our relationships, not just passively there. So this is a great time to invest time and energy and effort into the relationship. Number 7, stay in touch with your stress. My husband had a mini meltdown about going to the grocery store right at the beginning of this. And I think a lot of us are feeling very concerned about this omnipresent threat of COVID-19. Who has it? We don't always know when people have it. Should we be wearing a mask? Should we be wearing gloves? Should we lock ourselves in our closets and not come out for 6 weeks? Everybody is really concerned right now. We're thinking about our loved ones who are maybe far away or elderly, and so we're stressing out. Some people have lost their jobs. People are worried about how they're going to pay bills. So make sure that you're staying in touch with your stress levels, and when you might be feeling more sensitive, so that we don't react to our partners and we don't take our stress out on them. The last thing that you want to do is get angry and snap at your partner for saying something because you're feeling really concerned about your grandmother who lives in an area where there have been a lot of new outbreaks. So, we want to, if we stay in touch with what we're feeling, then it's easier to not take that stress out on our partner. Number 8, say what you need. This is a time when communication is key. And I'm going to say that about relationships all of the time, but when we are in a space with each other, more so than usual, we have to take our communication to the next level, even if we're really great communicators to begin with. So you want to make sure that you ask for what you need. If you need that alone time, don't be afraid to say, hey, I need alone time. I need to recharge. I need to spend some time by myself. I need to go for a run. I need to do this. If you need some quiet time, don't be afraid to say, hey, I really need for you to put in your headphones when you listen to that show or your video game or that music because I'm feeling really overstimulated and I need some quiet. This goes really well with the paying attention to your stress levels because you need to figure out what you need, and you need to feel empowered to ask your partner for that. Because now more than ever, when we're all on edge, we can't read each other's minds during normal situations, but we definitely can't read each other's minds when we're all experiencing this stress. So ask for what you need, be very clear about it, and don't be afraid to say, I need this. Whatever this happens to be. Number 9, self-care even harder. So whether or not you're somebody that's great at self-care, you need to be spending more time and effort on self-care right now than ever before. And how this benefits our relationships is that if we are feeling good and we are feeling better, then we are less likely to snap at our partners. We have an easier time saying what we need. So if we are taking care of ourselves, it's a lot easier to do the things on this list. So the best way to do this is to make sure that you are not neglecting the things that you normally do. If you usually go out to a yoga class on Saturday mornings, do a YouTube yoga class or a DVD, or just practice yoga on your own. If you are somebody that usually likes to go for a run, then if you can get outside, make sure that you're continuing to do that. If you like to take a bath and do a face mask, make sure that you're continuing to do the things that you normally do to take care of yourself. And B, maybe spend a little bit more time on those things, or add in some additional things that you can do. There is no such thing as too much self-care during this time. So if you usually meditate for 10 minutes every day, maybe make it 20. If you really like cooking, try a new recipe. It's all about making sure that we are taking care of ourselves during this time when things are stressful and concerning and everybody is just trying to make it through. And sometimes that self-care might mean doing something like unplugging from social media, not watching the news, not staying up on the numbers of how many people are sick, how many people have died. If that is something that is causing you a lot of concern and stress, then self-care for you in this situation might be taking a step back and not looking at that information constantly. And number 10 is be tolerant. You know, as I've said throughout this video, we are all having a difficult time, and cutting your partner a little bit of slack if they are crankier than usual, if they are messier than usual, if they are anxious or depressed, being extra tolerant and remembering that everybody is struggling right now can only benefit your relationship. You know, in general, we want to be tolerant of our partner or our spouse in their quirks and imperfections, but just cutting a little bit more slack during this time is definitely beneficial for us and for them. And that's not saying that we need to start ignoring behavior that's not okay, like emotional abuse or yelling, that type of thing, but just to maybe give them a little bit more space to feel their feelings and make mistakes. And if we are annoyed, try to ask ourselves, you know, is this something that I really need to address? Or is this something that's coming up from the fact that we're both at home, they're concerned about money, they're concerned about health, and everybody is feeling a little unstable during this time. So those are my 10 tips for making sure your relationship is going to make it through the pandemic. I hope that you have found these helpful. If you like this video, I hope that you will subscribe. You can visit my website, StaceyAldridgeLCSW.com, if you'd like to learn more about me. I have a blog where I write a lot about relationship topics. And if you are in the Jackson, Mississippi area, you can also find information there about coming to see me for therapy. Right now, I'm doing only online sessions, but I do hope to be doing some face-to-face sessions in the future. So if you are in the state of Mississippi, I can see you for online sessions. So all the information is available on my website. So thanks everybody for watching. Be kind to each other today and be kind to yourself too. And I will see you in the next video.